Strangers with Kittens, Gen X stories from the least parented generation. So I've got Kermit here with me, keep me company. And I've got my Strangers with Kittens t-shirt, which doesn't come like this, but you know, if you want to open up the neckline with a pair of scissors, have at it. Or keep it a crew neck. Only you can determine how much flash dance you need in your life, but I need some flash dance in my life. I'm needing just a more analog life. I don't know about you. I think I'm going to make a broad statement and say that we all need a more analog life. I have taken to listening to whole albums again, albeit on Spotify, which I know I'm supposed to divest from, but I have kids who don't want me to, and I don't really know how, and I don't want to lose my playlist, and they don't want to lose their shared playlist, so it's really tricky. But I know they run ICE ads, and that really sucks. There are so many things we have to think about now, right? Things like that. Things like, okay, I got to get rid of Spotify. I got to get rid of, what was I trying? Oh, got to change my cell phone carrier. I don't know. They're just, then it's boycott this and then don't boycott that. And I don't know. There's a lot going on. And again, this is why we need a more analog life. And also, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is new. I thought the upside of podcasting was that I could stay in my pajamas or my weird, like, walking the dog's clothes, but apparently not. So this is me. This is me dressing up. But you know, a little style, little eyeliner. You're welcome. There's so many things I want to talk to you guys about. And I have so many ideas just like swimming around in my head, vying for attention. So this might be a little choppy and a little scattered, but here we go. One thing I was really thinking about is, and this isn't just for Gen X, but maybe some products work better for Gen X than others. But there are so many products that I really love and love to share with people. Like this, you guys. Oh my gosh, this manicure. Mocha is the color right now. But this is an at-home gel manicure. I don't know, I got sucked into some ad on Instagram for Manicurist. It's a French company, and it's an LED light, not a UV light. So I don't think it ages your hands, and it's not hot or weird or whatever. And it doesn't last as long as a gel, but gels also, for me, they completely damage my nails, so I don't do gel manicures anyway. So I was doing regular ones, but they literally sometimes would start chipping after 24 hours. And so anyway, I got sucked into this ad. I tried it. I love it. I now have a million colors because it's so much fun. And it's like a gel manicure you do at home. They have these little clips that you put cotton balls and their non-acetone remover on, and you let it sit for 60 seconds, and then it just kind of crinkles up like a weird little shrink wrap, and you just sort of get it off. The darker colors take a little more effort, but it's pretty great. My nails are always looking spiffy now. So this isn't a paid endorsement. This is just stuff that I think is awesome that I want to share with you. I have a lot of recommendations, but I don't want to overwhelm you. We will get into many, though, because I have opinions. I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things. And I've had a lot of experience with bad things and also things that make your life easier and better. So I want to share those. Speaking of things that make your life better. So there's an answering machine on strangerswithkittens.com, which I strongly encourage you to visit and hit the button and hit the little phone and leave a message. Eileen decided to leave us a message, not me, but another Eileen. There's a lot of us. I'm just going to jump right in. Do I need to, for those of you for whom this is your first visit, your first listen, your first YouTube visit, this is Strangers with Kittens, Gen X stories from the least parented generation. There was a lot about growing up Gen X that was pretty great, and there was a lot that was pretty traumatic. and challenging. Being a latchkey kid and dealing with stuff on your own was terrifying. We've got skills like no generation before or since, but they were hard won and not without pain. So here's a message from Eileen. She says, "Oh my God, I was a super latchkey kid Gen Xer. My mother was the nurse in charge of the emergency room in Hackensack, and I was probably 9, maybe 10, and walked home from school to find 2 raccoons on my front lawn. I was freaked out because one of them was foaming at the mouth, so I got up the nerve to call my mother at work, which was a cardinal sin in my house. But I told her what was going on, and she said, 'Stay in the house.' So I did. The next thing I know, I hear noise outside, and I look out the window, and there are 2 cops. They didn't even come to the door to explain what was going on, why they were there. I was watching them through the window, and they took out their guns and shot the raccoons. I was mortified enough to be telling you 46 years later, ah, the good old days." And Eileen, I can relate. Not to watching raccoons get shot, though I have seen quite a few horrifying things along those lines. Just the way things would turn so unexpectedly in ways you couldn't imagine and were completely out of your control, and about which you were left to feel responsible. Like, for me, being in that situation and being like, "Hey, this is happening. What do I do?" And then having a parent tell you to just stay inside, and then having these poor animals shot, that I would carry with me with guilt and shame for the rest of my life. I caused 2 raccoons to be murdered. That was the kind of shit that Gen X dealt with on the regular, that no one talked to you about, that no one explained to you, that no one held space around a conversation with, "Boy, that must have been scary when they came, and I'm sorry, I didn't know that's how we were going to handle it," or whatever. Any kind of like post game wrap up, nothing ever. It was always like, and I can speak for myself, but I can also speak for a lot of friends who've shared with me, like, you just you just carried it. You just internalized it and ruminated on it and stressed about it and felt bad, but you didn't process it, you know? So, and you learned to keep your mouth shut about a lot of things because they ended badly, like that. You went to an adult for help, and I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, it made things worse or traumatized you in some way, like whatever the solution was. It just was different, you know? It's like, we're so nostalgic for those analog days and those sort of feral days. And there was a lot that was great about it, but there was a lot that wasn't. One thing that's been on my mind lately, that talk about something you carry with you and stays with you and that you don't know how to process. I remember being in elementary school, and like, because life was, you know, parentless, adultless, Wild West, feral, kids were just left to their own devices and were just doing the best they could or what they wanted to, or not controlling their impulses or what have you, right? A lot of us were just trying to like keep our heads down and survive. And some were living in the gilded age of the bully. And some were super unfortunate to be living in the age of the bully. I remember walking home from elementary school. I think I was in 4th grade. My elementary school went up to 5th. Maybe I was in 3rd grade. And there was a kid in my grade who was a nice enough kid. He was just like a regular, normal kid who had friends. And I was walking home, and then a kitty grade older who was only a year older, but perhaps 2 years chronologically, and maybe had been left back. I don't know. He was big for his age. Had taken this younger kid, the fourth grade kid, and hung him from a hook on a telephone pole by his underwear in a super wedgie. And the kid in my grade was crying and was hanging off his feet and couldn't get down. And I remember, and the kid that was scary as hell was still there, like had put him up there and was like taunting him. And I think maybe had some friends around him. It's all kind of a traumatic blur. And I remember just being so horrified and terrified and concerned, and also feeling powerless and guilty because I felt like I'm no match for this kid to stop him, but I should do something, but I don't know what to do. And so I just like kept my head down and went home and felt horrible about it. And I think, the other kids, I mean, I kept kind of turning around as I was walking away. And I think the bully finally left and some other kids helped him get down. But that's the kind of crazy stuff that went on that traumatizes us to this day. I mean, like I can sit here and like that it was never funny. It wasn't like when I was younger. I was like, oh, that was funny. And then I got older and I realized that's messed up. No, that was horrifying, terrifying. And witnessing it made me feel somehow complicit, which is a really complicated and awful feeling for a child to have who is so powerless in the world. And I feel like growing up Gen X, that feeling is universal to our peers, right? I mean, there was like messed up stuff going on. Yeah, just feeling this weight of like somebody should do something. This is terrible. I'm just a kid. I'm barely surviving out here. I don't know what to do. That's happening right now. Like I feel like that is such a prevailing feeling from growing up in the 70s and 80s. That complicated sort of survivor's guilt or trauma from maybe you were the kid that was hung from a hook by his underwear or whatever. I'm sure there are times when you're that person. There have been times when you've been the witness. There have been, I don't know, maybe sometimes you were lashing out and being a bully and there was no one around to stop you from your worst self, your worst impulses for whatever you were going through. Like I just feel like there was so much going on. There was so much like change, social change, and divorces and adults finding themselves and kids sort of being lost in the shuffle. And then going out into the world where it's just all kids and maybe bringing out the worst of themselves because of the stuff that they were dealing with, that they had no guidance and they were just alone a lot. It's such a funny, fun, horrible, complicated bunch of memories, right? We were just so on our own. I like how I like seeing younger people on socials talking about wishing that they grew up in Gen X time, because there was something really wonderful about that time and the connection that we had and the social change that we were creating and demanding, and all of the hunger and AIDS and apartheid, and there were just so many things that young people became aware of and then tried to help. And it was like this collective, whether it was Hands Across America or Live Aid, They were like these things that you became electrified by and became a part of. And there was always music involved, which was great. I don't know, it was just such a special time. Anyway, those are my 2 cents for today. I'm really excited for this next chapter. I'm really excited for the changes that are coming down the pike. I think you're going to love them. I love spending time with you, and I love talking about this stuff, and I would love to hear from you. So if you want to leave a message, that would be amazing. If you want to write an email, do that on the website as well, strangerswithkittens.com. But I hope I hear from you. I would love to. And you know what? I've had so many people reach out to me in the past when I've written about, or like if I, when I was doing stand up more regularly and I would talk about, the funnier things of growing up in that time. People would come up to me after a show and be like, "Oh my God, we had the same car with a hole in the floor that you did. And we, this happened and that happened. And, so many similarities." And it's fun to share this stuff, and it's healing to share it too, because I feel like we're the only ones that really can understand the magic and the beauty of growing up in Gen X, and the real neglect and abuse and isolation and overwhelm and terror and incredible skills that we honed and independence and perspective and chill, and also humor over the shared trauma, which is, there's no healthier way to deal. So I'm so excited to have this space and hold this space for you, for all of us. I would love to hear what's on your mind, what memories you have. Dark, light, funny, not weird stuff that still like perplexes you to this day. All of it. Because that's how we connect. So until next time, see you soon. Strangers with Kittens is taped before a live audience of dogs. If you like our show, please rate, review, and share on social media.